Good morning, Rotarians. Thank you for joining us. This meeting is called to order. Shortly, I'll be sharing my screen and leading us through another fun-filled presentation to direct the conversation. Periodically, I'll bring the screen down so that we can see each other's beautiful and friendly faces and have more dialogue. Feel free to speak as you would during a normal in-person meeting, but if you're not using your microphone, please make sure to mute yourself, or maybe I'll do it at the cost of a club fine. All right, and here we go. Screen sharing happening now. Okay. Welcome, everybody, to the Fortuna Sunrise Rotary Club meeting for August 26, 2020, Volume 9 of my presidential year. Get over to the screen. We have an amazing Rotary Club, and I am so thankful to be a part of it. Let's stop the screen share just for a second and do some introductions of guests. Let's see. This morning we have Fortuna Police Chief Casey Day, who will also be our program. Give it up.
Hey. Morning, everyone.
Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Do we have any other visiting Rotarians or guests? Nope, it looks like a bunch of awesome Rotarians. Super duper. All right, we're going to go back to the screen share. Awesome. Okay. At this time, we typically be doing the flag salute, but since our meeting is virtual, a little American history lesson. Did you know that on this day in 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was officially ratified, and it gave women the right to vote? That was 1920. And only a mere 69 years later, women were allowed to become members of Rotary. So give it up for women getting the right to vote in 1920. Yeah. All right. Inspirational message of the day. I destroy my enemies when I make them my friends. It's a nice one. Okay, and we'll pass it over to Don Jewett for the four-way test this morning. Don?
Good morning, everyone. The four-way test of what we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? And will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Well done. Well done. Thank you, Don. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Announcements. Huge announcement in the world of Rotary. As we all know, one of our goals is disease eradication in the world. And the World Health Organization has declared Africa free of the wild polio virus. So big news in the polio world. It came out from our Rotary International president. We also got word from our polio chair from the district as well. So everybody's celebrating in that victory, and let's keep moving forward on this because, as we all know, we're this close, right? District governor's visit, as well as the potential district conference. That's October. It's getting closer and closer. Who knows what will happen? Maybe it'll be via Zoom. If I knew the answer to that, I'd have $1 million maybe. And then also some news from the district regarding our upcoming youth exchange year. That'd be 2021, 2022. The district would love your participation. Currently, we have filled out the form saying that we will participate. So potentially we would have another Rotary Youth Exchange student coming in August of next year. But let's use this year to hone in our training, expand the support, participation of the clubs, refine many of the actions needed to fulfill the Department of State and Rotary International, as well as our district's requirements. They're constantly monitoring and managing expectations with the COVID-19 situation. And Rotary Youth Exchange, anybody who's been in this club for a while knows it's near and dear to my heart. it's an amazing program and opportunity for our club and community to send ambassadors from our local high school, and in return, the joy and excitement of having ambassadors from other countries come to our club for a whole year and stay in our homes and just build families all over the world. We still have one student who was unable to go this year, Ashlyn Gurney, who is still interested in going. It would be technically her senior year. So we're going to keep her on as our ambassador in the hopes that she'll be able to go. And we're just moving forward with that. You may also know that Rotary International Youth Exchange is, oh gosh, I'm getting emails. Hold up. It is one of the Rotary's most successful peace building projects, which is also one of our 6 or I believe 7 now areas of focus. And only Youth Exchange is your club involved with the 3 avenues of service in one program, which is youth, international community services, and peace building. So we look forward to another year of Youth Exchange. Hoorah. All right. Okay. We have a guest fine master this morning, Angela Johnson, who I photoshopped her face on a old school vintage police officer. Look at that. I'm going to stop screen sharing and pass it over to Angela Johnson. And I'm going to allow you to screen share. Let's see. Oh, I'm pressing the wrong thing. No. Okay. This and multiple participants. You should have the opportunity now, Angela, to screen share if you would like to.
Perfect. I got it. Thank you. Well, good morning. It's a bit of a challenge to do fines, I think, and figure out who's going to be at the meetings, but I'm just going to go through the pictures whether you're here or not. So let me get my screen up. Our king of multitasker, who looks like he's cooking breakfast this morning, might be all packed up and headed off to the great unknown. Packed up and ready to go. Where are you going, friend?
What do you mean? I'm cooking eggs.
No?
My son and I did a little camping and hiking this summer so far, and hopefully some more in the next few weeks.
Nice. So what is this journey? What are your journeys worth to you?
Hey Jace, what's our journey worth? $10?
$10. Sounds great. Let's see if I can. All right. So now we're gonna do a little shifting into the presidential
You want to take yours to the table?
Right, and so the rules there are that no fine is too old. So we're going to go
yours
back
to the table
into
too,
some
Jet, or are you gonna
history. Anybody see a Rotarian in this picture? It's not here this morning, but I thought it was a fun little picture.
How about the red sweater?
Dennis Scott.
Look at
Dennis
that
Scott
fine
when he
fella
was
in the red sweater.
much younger.
That is
But
Mr.
Angela,
Dennis
Angela,
Scott.
you know, Dennis Scott was never a president.
Well, but the presidential rules, right? When you go back into the presidential rules, that says that no fine's too old. So if you ever got fined for this, it doesn't really matter because no
I think
fine's
that's
too
a
old.
heck wood rule.
Hey, are you questioning my rules? So anyhow, just kind of a fun picture that I found here of Mr. Dennis Scott. We could save it for when he shows back up. Also heading back into history. Look at this, a little game of cops and robbers. Or just missing the rodeo. Mr. Judavine.
That's my awesome youngest daughter just a few years ago. You can tell by the hair color, it's been maybe 20 years.
Nice. Well, what is this game here worth to you?
How about 20 bucks?
20 bucks. Nice. Well, thank you. Look, it looks like a little barbecue fun, outdoor summer sun. So.
Yeah, I think that's a piñata in the background as well. That rope at the top of the So I think it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday, maybe a cowboy themed party. All right, so now just a quick shift, kind of in the spirit of Simon's theme and recognizing and honoring art. Kind of wanted to focus on a couple of our local artists that have connections here to our club. First one is here. Does anybody know who this artist might be? Crickets. Maybe Heather Kelly can help us out on some of these pictures.
Yeah, I wish I could say I was the artist, but my husband is the talented one in the family.
Right, yes, the connection, right?
Yes, so it is Kelly woodwork.
Yeah, so awesome, beautiful woodwork. It's kind of, I really enjoy kind of watching your pictures and watching his like art evolve in his medium. So for you hunters out there, this is a duck call. Some pretty awesome duck calls. So Kelly, what do you say for the beautiful art of the husband?
$15.
Right, woohoo! And then the last one is looking here. Any guess on which artist might be displayed at this pole? It's obviously there's no art on the pole at this point of picture. It may be there at this point, but we have one of our local artists who is going to have something displayed there.
Angela Johnson, I happen to have inside knowledge on that particular project.
I thought you might have an upside. Why don't you share with us?
The artist who will be displayed on that pole is Penny Frageau.
Absolutely. So Penny isn't here with us, so we can catch her on a different time and maybe we can catch the picture. So with your inside knowledge, Mr. Jewett, is it installed and complete?
It is installed and completed. It was installed the next day.
Oh,
And
well, gosh, you were just quick on it. So it's kind of a beautiful rendition of, an artist pole. And so if you're down along Redwood Capital Bank and Strong Street Plaza Way, definitely check it out. Penny did a great job on kind of displaying the looks of school.
It's actually she took a historical photograph which showed Fortuna Grammar School circa 1900. Actually, on the picture itself, it says 1891, and managed to wrap it around the four sides of that post, or the vinyl covering that's going to go over that. It's really a nice bit of history.
Well, thank you. So we can definitely, that's the hard part. Simon, I don't envy the weekly find job within a Zoom is you never know who's going to be here and who's not. So that's what I could find for us today. So happy finds.
Good job, Angela.
Thank you, Angela. Great job.
Hey, President Simon, just a point of clarification.
Yes, sir.
Penny Frageau didn't actually take that picture. There's members of the club, Don Hewitt, that might have been around in 1900 to take that photo, but Penny's way too young.
Point taken. We'll note that in the meeting minutes, right, Ross? Oh goodness. Okay, back to the regularly scheduled program once again. Thank you, Angela Johnson, for being our guest find master this week. You did a fabulous job. All right. Okay. So being an art educator and the president of this Rotary Club, something I've been doing weekly is introducing an artist and kind of showing some of their works. And this week, I thought I'd switch things up. Instead of doing a particular artist, I thought I'd show some work of the Tsimshian Native American Indians. The Tsimshian means inside the Sakina River, and it's a name that is often broadly applied to the indigenous people of the Pacific Northwest coast, speaking languages of the Tsimshian language family. Archaeological excavations in the harbor at Prince Rupert have unearthed the remains of a cedar plank house villages that date back 5,000 years. And as such, the Tsimshian claim one of the oldest continuous cultural heritages in the Americans. The Tsimshian people are also generally held to be related historically to the Penutian peoples of Oregon and California. The last slide, we saw some really gorgeous rattles, and here we've got some mask work as well as a bowl. I really love how they integrate the animal characteristics into the pieces, using a lot of these natural things that they found around the area. Just really beautiful stuff. If anybody doesn't know, I love making masks, so mask work is one of my favorite things to see at our museum, and here's some great examples of their work. All right, next slide. Okay. So during these certain ceremonies, the Tsimshian leaders would wear symbols that would validate their authority, such as dance blankets woven from cedar bark fibers and mountain sheep wools, or rattles carved in the shape of a raven. Among the most important elements, chiefly the attire is a headdress. And so here we've got a couple of headdresses on the left. It's kind of actually two shots of one with a bear and maybe a salmon or some type of fish. And then there's also the kind of like pommel, I guess, of a dagger on the far right there. Just really beautiful carving work. And you talk about a people too that they didn't have a lot of outside influence. A lot of this artwork, you know, it was pre-Western civilization. So they were just kind of creating things. Whereas you look at artwork maybe in Europe, during a similar time period, and they had this kind of robust art renaissance, and you know, everybody was kind of building on these concepts. Their work was very untouched by that, and influenced just by themselves and nature. So you can see it's really evident in the work. Okay, and we got to the third slide, which is where I usually call on a Rotarian to give us some insight and a little art critique. And this morning I'm going to call on Dr. Greg Bartle. Are you with us?
All right, yes, good morning.
Awesome, thanks, Greg. So tell me a little bit about this dance cape, also known as a button blanket.
All right, this blanket looks like it's exhibiting a lot of energy. It has the circle of life. It looks like there's maybe a baby in the womb. Certainly a lot of buttons. I'm not sure why the kids are flying in the air, but I think it's when you're a busy mom trying to juggle 4 kids at once.
That was good. That was good. Nice. I liked it. Very, very well done. You know, maybe to improve there, you could have talked a little bit about the color scheme that was going on, the red, black, and white, really powerful color scheme. But overall, I think you did a fantastic job. What do you think that's worth, everybody? $10, Greg?
Okay.
Sure. $10 for that awesome art critique. Thanks so much. All right. And is Jeff Nelson in the house this morning? I think I saw him in there. Could you unmute, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
Hey, so we've talked about Native Americans, but who can argue that there's nothing more American than a can of Campbell's soup on a cold day, huh? Well, maybe you could, but can you tell us which one of these was painted by Andy Warhol?
Well, which one is, not which one isn't. Oh,
yeah. So it's one of these three, 1, 2, or 3.
One.
One. Incorrect, sir. That is Baked Potato by Roy Lichtenstein. Close, but no cigar. Oh, thank you, though. That's a $5 fine. Let's see. How about Pete Fennell? You still there with your computer, sir?
Yes, I am.
All right. You got a 50-50 chance to get this last one. Is it 2 or 3?
I'm going to go with number 3.
Number 3, also incorrect. That's an untitled piece by Keith Haring. All wonderful pop artists, but the center one is Do It Yourself. It's kind of like a paint by numbers joke by Andy Warhol. So good job, $5 fine for you. I got you this week.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. Okay. weekly recognition. So each week I'm drawing a little character of somebody from the club and either talking about them or relating it to some kind of symbology. Who do you think I'm going to pick this week? Any guesses? What about Herb Colby, the milkman? What could this mean?
You got me.
Herb, well, let me tell you, milk is a powerful symbol within most cultural traditions, and it is the fluid of eternal life, fertility, abundance. It's the food of the gods. The first human diet flows freely in the promised lands of Canaan. Herb's smiling face and good-natured attitude and awesome sense of humor are abundant and flow freely. Milk also represents unselfishness, selfless love, kindness, and good omens. It is said that if you dream of boiling or spilling the milk outside of the vessel, you are going to get some amazing news in the future. Well, the amazing news for our club is that we have Herb Colby as a member. His love of service and kindness are great omens of our future. But what about the milkman? In popular culture, the idolized milkman is a friendly, dependable, clean cut. Sound familiar? The milkman is a frequent symbol of the bucolic suburban life. Well, our humble country lives here in the Eel River Valley are that much better because of the dependable traits that Herb Colby brings to the table. So, make a joyful noise for Herb Colby. Yeah. Herb, that condensed recognition and illustration has to be a formula worth as much as a large container of organic half and half and maybe some delicious goat cheese. How about 15 bucks?
Oh, you might as well make it a 20.
Yeah, I love it. Good job. Thank you, Herb, for playing along.
Thank you. That was very nice.
All right. And we're going to go to our weekly program. I'm going to bring down the share and hand it over to our program chair, Erin Dunn, to introduce this week's program.
Hi, good morning, everybody. It's my pleasure and honor to introduce Fortuna Police Chief Casey Day. And after graduating from Central Valley High School, Chief Day enlisted in the United States Marine Corps and was honorably discharged at the rank of sergeant. He started his law enforcement career with the Anderson Police Department in 2001, and during his time there worked as a patrol officer, detective, training officer, and as the acting commander of operations in his final year there. As a sergeant with the Anderson Police Department, he served as the problem-oriented policing team leader, firearms program manager, social media manager, internal affairs investigator, executive public affairs and information officer, training manager, and active shooter planning administration, which sounds like that was perfect preparation for his future role as our police chief. Chief Day earned his master's degree from Arizona State University in criminal justice in 2019 and is the recipient of the American Cross Real Heroes Award, as well as many other awards. He has 4 children, 2 sons and 2 daughters, a ball python, and a German Shepherd, who we got to see a little glimpse of this morning if you were on a little earlier. So it is my pleasure to welcome Chief Day.
Thank you, Erin. So I guess I'll just start out talking a little bit about where I grew up and came from, and then we can dive into any questions. I pretty much was raised in Shasta County, California. I wasn't born there. I was born in a different state after my dad had finished serving in the Vietnam War. And when we moved to Shasta County, that was really home for our family. But, you know, I did the normal things that most kids do. I was big into hunting and fishing, still am. You know, played a lot of baseball and football all growing up through high school. And when I enlisted in the Marine Corps, you know, I spent most of my time overseas, and just about the last 4 months here back at Camp Pendleton, which is down in San Diego. And then after the Marine Corps, I basically came home and went fishing for 6-7 months, and then it was on to the police academy, and I kind of been doing this ever since. So coming to Fortuna, it wasn't, I get a lot of questions about, you know, culture change, or, you know, what are the biggest changes? In a lot of ways, it feels like I never left. The people here are very much what I'm used to. The way of life is very much what I'm used to. And, you know, the makeup of the city government and the way that the police department operates are all things that I'm very comfortable with and very familiar with. I think the biggest thing has just been the slight temperature change, which I'm obviously really thankful for. My wife said I can't talk about that anymore because I've kind of played it out, but I'm still pretty happy about it. So I'm going to mention it this morning. It's really nice to, you know, not be wrapped in Kevlar for 12 hours a day, working in the 110, 115 degree heat. It gets pretty bad. I can still remember times where, you know, we were out on critical incidents, or even something as simple as a traffic collision, and sometimes it feels like your boots are melting to the asphalt. So I am pretty thrilled to be here. Since I've been here, I really consider myself pretty fortunate. I've really been welcomed by the men and women of the Fortuna Police Department with open arms. Morale is extremely high right now within the department. And, you know, basically I put a little voice pod out to them earlier this week, basically just making sure that I, you know, shared my appreciation and let them know how thankful that I was that the transition was so easy. So I have a pretty good feeling about where things are going with Fortuna PD. The relationships are already building and you know, increasing with every single day that goes by. So right now, in the first 2 months, I've really taken the opportunity to just kind of evaluate the personnel and the programs that are in place here at the police department. And, you know, I'm a big culture guy, so I'm really into leadership. It's something that I started practicing at a very young age. And, you know, I believe that leaders should be very humble, and that they should be servants. And that's really the culture and that I'm trying to start here at Fortuna PD. And it's been contagious. It's spreading pretty easily. You know, and so I look forward to good things in the future here in Fortuna.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Any members of the club have some questions for the new Fortuna City Police Chief?
Sure, I have one. How can you tell us how far we're coming along with the new building that's you guys are going into?
Yeah, absolutely. So we refer to the new building as the pod. And so currently we have patrol ops running out of the pod, and we have detectives down there in place. So basically where we're at with that is the city manager, Meredith, has been working very diligently to get the award letters and contracts for architecture services prepared. My understanding is that is getting ready to go forward at the next city council meeting. And so I think that once that happens, we'll start to see some more significant progression, if you will, down there. But I know that the every employee within the Fortuna PD right now is looking forward to being back under the same roof, because right now I still have the administrative staff, records, and dispatch up at the old building. On that note, we did order a flagpole for the pod down there, and so Public Works is working with my office currently to get that installed this week. So look for a new flagpole down there. I think that's important, and so we went ahead with that.
Chief Day.
So, Chief, have you gotten the swimming pool filled in, or the detectives taking an afternoon swim every day?
Yeah, I thought we would just keep the swimming pool for amphibious operations. My Marine Corps background, I think it's important, but no, we that's emptied, and that's part of it right now is currently, getting ready to fill that in, and they've talked about different ideas about what to use to fill that in. So they're making considerations for the weight of different things and making sure that that it can be filled in safely and properly. But I think that's going to be a really nice area for some new offices, and I did think about keeping the hot tub as well, but they said no. So.
Thank you.
Chief, this is John Sapper.
Morning, John.
With all the craziness we see going on across this country, directed at law enforcement and that, are you finding it more difficult to recruit qualified officers, those who are interested in getting into the profession, or pretty much the same here on the North Coast? Are you seeing any differences or changes?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of things, John. I think law enforcement has been struggling to find quality candidates for, a significant amount of time now. And I don't know that it's necessarily, that the civil unrest and the things that have occurred are 100% responsible for that. I think we see different issues. We have generational issues. We have the issue of, finding candidates that not only want to do the job, but that have the appropriate background, if you will. Oftentimes you run into candidates who want to do the job, but, they have a past. And so law enforcement executives, this has kind of been a point of topic for a few years now, is, we don't ever want to compromise our standards or our values as far as, the expectations that we have for the young men and women that are coming to work in law enforcement. So, that is definitely one issue. And I think that, people see what is going on throughout our nation. It's definitely just completely different from when I got started in law enforcement 20 years ago. And, it's not that I haven't seen the ebb, flow, and tide of things come and go, but things are just different now. And nobody has a crystal ball, but we can only do our best to recruit and retain the most qualified personnel, the people with the most significant ethics and morals and set of values that can serve the greater good. So that is what I concern myself with. And I know that many of my colleagues, other chiefs and sheriffs, share that point of view.
Yeah, thank you. I, not speaking for the club or the whole community, but I think that you will find strong support for you, for law enforcement, and all the officers here in this area.
Yeah, thank you very much, John. Anybody got any nunchuck questions? And who was the singer in the beginning?
That was probably me.
Oh, okay. American Idol.
Well, no.
Yeah, the cat's out of the bag. I was actually going to ask a nunchuck question. Do you carry those with you, and do you intend to give us a little display this morning of how you maneuver those nunchuck skills?
Yeah, maybe we can set that up for next time. I am actually very easygoing about the nunchucku issue, and I'll give you guys a little background story on that. So how I got involved, I do have a martial arts background. I've been practicing Kempo karate since I was about 6 years old. And so it was kind of a natural transition for me early on as a law enforcement officer to get involved in the defensive tactics program at my former agency. So I did a lot of that and really found a passion with impact weapons. And that's just kind of, cop terminology for baton work. And so I was teaching most of the different types of batons. We have expandables. There was a time where we ran the side-handled PR-24, the old-fashioned straight stick. And so back in 2013, we had a transition at Anderson Police Department where we got a new chief, and that chief just happened to be a former sergeant with the Eureka Police Department. And at that time, EPD and I believe the Humboldt County SO were actually, some of their guys were carrying the nunchaku. And so when I spoke with my new chief in 2013-14, he wanted me to kind of explore that tool. And so I did my research, and I was pretty much as skeptical as anybody else. And, but I ended up going down to Los Angeles and training with the inventor of that tool. It's a guy named Kevin Orcutt. He's a retired sergeant from Colorado. And, people see the, or have a concept of their mind of, the martial artist like, Bruce Lee or something, going through these crazy katas and swinging these things around. But where we really found them to be effective was as a grappling tool or a leverage tool. So we would use them for, risk control, compliance, and things of that nature. It really did eliminate some of the more old-fashioned tactics we were using to, force uncooperative subjects into the back of a police car. Some of these guys can get pretty big, and when you're trying to fold them and fight with them and get them into the back of a car, sometimes it's just not as easy as it seems. So we were finding that we were pretty successful with the nunchaku, with just applying them to an ankle or a wrist and getting enough compliance where it was kind of just ending the issue and safely getting people who were fighting or who were actively resisting, as we say, into the back of a car or, out of the car and into the booking sally. So, I thoroughly enjoyed the airtime. I never expected to be on national TV ever, but CNN, as soon as I got back from LA, CNN sent a reporter to the police department there in Anderson, spent a day doing a story, and then within a week, I was on most of the late night shows. So I about fell out of my chair on a couple of occasions. It was funny stuff. I'm again really lighthearted about it. It is what it is, but it was kind of something that was more Anderson PD. I didn't really intend to bring them with me to Fortuna, but if you guys want to see a demo, yeah, I'll have them sent over and we can slate that for next time.
Nice.
Hi, this is Erin. I have a question. What is the status of the K9 program?
So yeah, that's a great question, Erin. I was on KINS yesterday doing Talk Shop with Brian and Eureka, and the K9 program is something I'm very passionate about. When I got here, I learned that the K9 program was something that needed to be reestablished, and so I started looking into that and basically have kicked off some fundraising campaigns. We had our school resource officer help with that, Lindsay Frank. She had decorated some really nice boxes with sticker machines. So we're in the process of talking with retailers and different businesses and organizations within Fortuna, about just getting those cash boxes out there. So that's one way. We're also looking into any businesses that want to participate in a roundup type of program. And then we do have some money set aside and some organizations that are offering matching funds. So my goal is to have the program reestablished by the end of the calendar year. Can you guys hear me? Are we good?
Yes.
Okay. So my goal is to have the K9 program reestablished by the end of the calendar year. If I miss that mark by a little bit, I'm certainly okay with that. My biggest issue really isn't the money. The money will be raised or we will find a way to reestablish the program financially. But I want to make sure that I have time to make the correct choice for the handler. Again, just reiterating, it's something that I'm very passionate about because, the canine is normally very involved in the community. It's a great apprehension tool and a great deterrent for crime, but also, we like to see the canine involved in demonstrations for the community, whether it be at the schools or other events. And, so it's going to take me time to pick the right handler. It's a lot of responsibility. There's a lot of liability that goes with canines. I don't do sole purpose dogs. They're patrol dogs, dual purpose. So narcotics detection and apprehension. And there's also a lot of time that goes into the selection of the canine. So you're talking about quality vendor, and unfortunately it's hit or miss with vendors these days. Fortunately, from where I come from, I am keenly aware of 2 or 3 very, very good vendors, and those are the vendors that I intend to work with. However, it's about evaluating the dog, making sure the dog is a good fit with the selected handler and vice versa. Looking at things like ball drive, because really ball and play drive are how we train those dogs. Basically apprehension work, it's a game. So they think that they are playing a game and that they're being rewarded for it at the end. So, it's a more of a positive type of training platform for canines. So there is, again, just a lot of consideration and work that goes into it. I would like to have it reestablished, or at least have the framework for the program's reintegration done by the end of the calendar year. But like I said, if I miss that mark by a month or 2 because I'm trying to make a more informed decision, then I'll be happy with that.
What's your fundraising goal?
So right now I'm looking to fundraise somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30,000. And again, when we talk about fundraising for canine, we're talking about the cost of the dog. You get what you pay for, just like anything else. The cost of the training and the cost of quality equipment. And, when you talk about equipment, what does that look like? It's everything from, ballistic vest for the dog, leash and harnesses, long leads, to the equipment that's installed in the patrol vehicle. So we have the, heat alarms that go in there, the fans and the cooling systems to keep the dog cool in the summertime, the electromagnetic door locks that go in the back. There's all kinds of things that go into it. It's not as simple as grabbing one of these working dogs and putting a collar and a leash on them and spending time training. It is very, very training and equipment intensive. And so it does take money to have a quality program.
Excellent. Any last questions for Chief Casey Day?
Yeah, I've got one, Simon. Chief Ken Halpy. What is your thought process on CCWs?
So do you want to clarify a little bit, or?
Well, I mean, throughout your industry, if you will, the chief has a mindset or whatever, but you think they're a valuable tool, or are you against them?
No, I am pro CCW all the way. My wife has one. My mother has one. I wish I could give them to my kids, but they're not old enough yet. I started all my kids shooting around the 7 or 8 years old mark with the little chipmunk single shot 22s. And I'm a big gun guy, Marine, former SWAT guy. And I think in the world we live in, and the Constitution affords us that right, that every American who can lawfully obtain a CCW and carry has a duty to do so. Crazy things happen every day. And, I certainly would not be talking about my feelings openly if I didn't really, really believe in, people within the community having an opportunity to protect themselves. I do believe in, kind of the sheepdog mentality. something that's pretty popular in law enforcement throughout our nation is, you know, kind of the teachings of a guy named Lieutenant Colonel Grossman. And if you haven't read any of his stuff, he puts things in perspective as far as victimology and the way we deal with those kind of things as Americans. And the sheepdog terminology is just about, you know, training yourself and your family to take on a mindset that, you know, you're going to do everything you can do to protect yourself and not just kind of follow the rest of the sheep at chow time and act like, you know, evil isn't present in the world and that nothing bad will ever happen to you, because that's really, it's a poor attitude to have because as we see every day, bad things do happen to good people. And I think that the better that we can prepare ourselves as citizens within the community in that regard, the better off we are. So yeah, I am very pro CCW. Yeah, that's about it on that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we're getting about to the end of our time today, so raffle, right? Let's do this. I'm going to pull a ticket out. It will have one of our club members' names on it, and they could potentially win untold fortunes. Let's see. That Rotarian is not here this morning. Let's see if I can get another one. Here we go. Here we go. Rick Center. You still with us, friend? I'm going to pull out a ball. Will Rick be the first one? What are we up to? 105, Ross?
105.
105. Let's see. What'll it be? Oh, man. The most popular ball. Pay $5. Sorry, Rick.
Oh, happy to have it.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right. Is there anything else for the good of Rotary or our community in general? Anything we'd like to bring before the table before we exit this morning?
Thank you to our speaker for today.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, my pleasure. I enjoyed being here.
Cool. And if you like hunting, I'm sure there's lots of people in our area that'll take you out.
Yeah, I'm looking to get introduced, so don't be shy about reaching out. I appreciate it. I haven't spent a lot of time hunting in Humboldt, but I look forward to it.
Awesome. Cool. We'll send some people your way. All right. Well, I think we'll call this meeting to close. Thanks, everybody, for joining us this morning. Have a marvelous day and keep doing good in the world.
Thank you, President.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.